It's no mystery to me. What happened to my daughter is the same thing that happened to Whitney, and there's only one person who was around on both occasions. You won't say his name? You're referring to Nick Gordon. I won't say his name. Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, has been gone for years. But according to her father, the circumstances surrounding her death still don't add up. Like many others, Bobbi has repeatedly suggested that Chrissy's ex, Nick Gordon, may have been responsible, not just for her death, but for Whitney's as well. I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what happened to her. Bobbi Kristina was starved to death. Do you believe he knows what happened? I don't know what happened that night, but he does. You walk through that door and see her. Just like Whitney, it was a nightmare all over again. But allegedly, there's much more to the story. Word on the street is that Chrissy knew the truth about her mother's death. And some believe the eerie similarities between their deaths weren't just coincidence, they were planned. Rumors suggest that Bobbi Kristina witnessed many of her mother's conflicts, including heated arguments with figures like Clive Davis. Just days before Whitney's passing, right around Grammy time, Chrissy reportedly saw a major fight between her mother and Clive. And then suddenly, Whitney was gone. So what exactly did Chrissy know? Could her knowledge of her mother's death have led to her own? Let's get into it. A life in the spotlight. Bobbi Kristina grew up in front of the cameras. Even as a baby, she was by Whitney's side, appearing in interviews, like the one with Barbara Walters when she was just 8 months old, and making public appearances such as joining her mother on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards. When Whitney passed away, Chrissy took it the hardest. She was hospitalized for a breakdown after her mother's body was discovered in a Beverly Hills hotel room. Despite her grief, she put on a brave face for the funeral and memorial services. Her mother's death brought her even more into the public eye. Though her family tried to shield her, she stepped into the entertainment world, landing a role in a Tyler Perry series. She also attended the Billboard Music Awards and did an interview with Oprah, among other public appearances. A tragic end. Sadly, Chrissy never got the chance to fully step into her mother's legacy. On January 31st, 2015, she was found unresponsive in the bathtub of the Georgia home she shared with Nick Gordon, eerily similar to how her mother was found. After months in a coma, she passed away in hospice care on July 26, 2015. The Fulton County Medical Examiner ruled her death as a combination of drowning and drug intoxication. The toxicology report found marijuana, alcohol, cocaine-related substances, sedatives, anti-anxiety medications, and morphine in her system. However, officials could not determine if her death was accidental or intentional. Their report stated, "The underlying cause of death is the condition which starts the downhill course of events leading to death." In this case, it is the immersion associated with intoxication, the pneumonia, and encephalopathy caused by the immersion and drug intoxication. The parallels between her death and Whitney's were undeniable. The similarities between Whitney and Bobbi. Kristina's deaths. Whitney Houston died on February 11, 2012, at 48 years old. She was found submerged in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. According to reports, her death was an accidental drowning. Toxicology results showed a small amount of cocaine, as well as traces of Xanax and other substances in her system. It was suggested that Whitney may have had a heart attack due to artery blockage, leading her to lose consciousness and drown. However, the coroner never found evidence of a cardiac event, So was that story just a cover-up? The shocking similarities between Whitney's and Bobbi Kristina's deaths continue to raise questions. And for those who believe there's more to the story, one question remains. Was it all just a tragic coincidence? Or something far more sinister? The coroner's report only indicated that Whitney Houston had mild heart disease and some arterial blockage, common among smokers. However, there was no definitive evidence that she suffered a heart attack and fell into the tub, as some have speculated. Regarding cocaine levels, the coroner confirmed that she had used some, but not a significant amount, meaning it wasn't the direct cause of her death. The biggest question remains: what caused Whitney to become submerged in a scalding hot bathtub, unable to get out? Adding to the mystery, it was later revealed that there wasn't enough water in her lungs to confirm drowning as the cause of death. This suggests that she may have already been unconscious before she was placed in the bathtub, rather than passing out while in it. And when it comes to the lingering suspicions surrounding Whitney's death, two names always come up. Nick Gordon, the ex-boyfriend of her daughter, Bobbi Kristina, and singer Ray J was reportedly the last person to see Whitney alive. He was the one who allegedly let a dealer into her hotel room, despite claims that she was sober at the time. According to some reports, that dealer provided a bad batch. Leola Brown, Bobbi Brown's sister, has repeatedly claimed that Whitney was beaten before she died. She insists that the family saw her body and that her injuries suggest she didn't just drown, she was physically attacked. Ray J's involvement with Whitney has always raised eyebrows. Though their relationship was never officially confirmed, he was one of the last people publicly associated with her. On the day of Whitney's death, Ray J claimed he wasn't at the Beverly Hilton. However, conflicting reports suggest otherwise. One account even stated that Brandy was asking about her brother at the hotel party that evening. But why would she be looking for him if he wasn't supposed to be there? Eyewitnesses also reported seeing Ray J and Raffles Van Exel, a known Hollywood insider, sneaking out of the back of the hotel with Brandy Burnside that same night. Interestingly, Raffles was not known to be on good terms with Ray J, raising questions about why he would be helping him leave the scene discreetly. To add to the suspicion, Leola Brown later accused Ray J of supplying Whitney with substances, potentially the fatal dose. She recalled seeing him rushed out of the hotel, hiding his face, something uncharacteristic of him. "I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? He's always showing his face around Whitney. Why hide now?" she questioned. "When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad batch. And then I saw Ray J. It all added up. Another piece of the puzzle? The mysterious note Whitney slipped to Brandy during an E! News interview just days before her death. Brandy has never disclosed the contents of that note. In another interview, when asked about it, she simply said, "I'm going to just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reasons." Many believe Whitney intentionally handed Brandy the note on camera as a safety measure, just in case something happened to her. Observers also noted that while Whitney gave Brandy the note, she strategically kept Monica and Clive Davis engaged in conversation, allowing Brandy enough time to read it. And if you listen closely, Whitney can be heard saying, "I nearly drowned today," during that same interaction. Suspicion didn't stop with Whitney's death. Many believe her daughter, Bobbi Kristina, may have uncovered the truth, and that it ultimately cost her life. Reports suggest she had receipts about what really happened to her mother. Jaguar Wright, a singer and industry insider, has claimed that Bobbi Kristina was present for at least some of the conflicts Whitney had before her passing. It's no secret that Whitney had a fallout with Clive Davis, her longtime mentor, just 2 days before her death. And as shocking as it sounds, some have speculated that Clive may have played a role in her demise. The fact that Whitney died on the night of a Clive Davis-hosted party has always seemed suspicious. If Bobbi Kristina was aware of what went down between her mother and Clive, she may have known too much for her own good. And then, just 3 years later, Bobbi Kristina was found in eerily similar circumstances. Her tumultuous relationship with Nick Gordon raised many red flags. This is a young man who swore he loved my niece, yet he dragged her up the stairs, pulled her by her hair, punched her in the face, and knocked 2 of her teeth out. One family member alleged Bobbi Kristina had plans to move to Los Angeles permanently, to reconnect with her father, Bobbi Brown, and focus on her career. She was reportedly looking forward to carrying on her mother's legacy, but Nick didn't want her to leave. Many believe he knew that if she moved away, his control over her and her finances would be over. On the day she was found unconscious, Bobbi Kristina had planned to meet up with a friend to discuss concerns about Nick. However, before she could, she reportedly got into an argument with him. Witnesses say she was under the influence, upset, and that Nick allegedly attacked her before leaving her alone in the room. Not long after, she was found unresponsive in a bathtub, just like Whitney. Following the incident, Bobbi Kristina's court-appointed conservator filed a lawsuit against Nick Gordon, accusing him of causing her wrongful death. The complaint alleged that Nick gave her a toxic cocktail that rendered her unconscious before placing her face down in the tub.